Question number 1. Ruth Ann from Clemens, NC. I know you complain of shyness. Yes. But if I ever saw you in public, I would feel inclined, nay compelled, to approach you and tell you how much I enjoy the show. Thank you. Could you reveal the best approach? I would hate to ever meet you and do it wrong. It's not that big a deal. But you probably wouldn't meet me because I keep my head down. I keep walking. I really mean this. Self-aggrandizement for what I do for a living seems so weak to me. My beloved mom used to cook desserts in a kitchen in an old folks home for maybe 20 years. And God bless her soul, I often think about how underpraised she was for actually doing something substantive. When you think about it, when you're an octogenarian and you come around 6:30 at night and it's your dinner time and you get your dessert and it's done well, that's a big moment for somebody. That's substantive in my book. And I always felt she was so underpraised, and I took something away from that in that I feel overpraised for and you know, it's a nice monkey trick. I'm happy. I hate people who piss on what they have, but it's not appreciable to me. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter as much as a dessert in an old folks home. And so I get sheepish about being praised. I like it like anybody else. I'm not going to try to act pristine. But when I go out during the day, it's funny, up here they have a newspaper where they have a column called Sightings. I live in a small town up north called Montecito, and they have a little paper that comes out once a week called the Montecito Journal, I think it's called. And anyway, they've got a guy who's like R. Robin Leach, and he writes a nice column. His name is Richard Miniards or something. He's a British guy, and he talks about scene on the scene or something like that, where he talks about things goings on in Montecito. People like to get in the column. He seems like a genial bloke. He doesn't really slag people, so nice guy. But he has a thing where at the end it'll say sightings, and it'll be these little blurbs. And I always pick it up when I go to lunch. It's outside every restaurant and read it. If I can't find a paper, I read the Montecito. There's another one up here. It's one of those indie weeklies where the whole world is, you know, get rid of your car, bike. I can't do that stuff. So that one frustrates me too much. But his is an easy lope. And in sightings, I'll notice that it says Dennis Miller seen lunching alone. And that's, you know, it made me laugh because I thought, God, how often are you alone? I just, I'm reticent. I'm a little shy. I don't like self-aggrandizement, and I must admit, it's fucked up. I wish my therapy had cured it over the years. I'm not in therapy anymore, but I was a kid. I'm so cut off from people in a way. Not my wife and kids. God, I eat my wife and kids alive, you know, and I have some close friends, but I'm not a gregarious sort, and therefore I'm thankful for the radio. Imagine that, in your own house. I get to come in here every day and, I don't know, be the person I always imagined I could be at a party or something, but I get at parties and I'm sort of shy and in the corner. That's why I don't go to many. And then I always feel like I'm either overly garrulous or too shy, or it's a minefield for me. And I remember once I left a party up here, I was standing there waiting for my car. It was the first time I met Jeff Bridges. He was a great guy, he lives up there. And he was leaving early too, and I said, man, I sweat in those things. He said, why do you think I'm leaving 20 minutes in? So I guess it's a lot of people. Bridges, he feels uncomfy too. So it's not, sometimes I think it's overly precious. I don't mean it to be. I'm just genuinely one of those people kind of likes being alone. I like reading my paper or whatever I'm reading. I always feel like I have, you know, when I'm talking to people that I should try to do something and be funny. You know, it's just work for me. And I feel I'm the broken one. Trust me, I'm not proud of it. I wish I'd gotten it together at age 57. Here's my fear. Ruth Ann. So if you ever see me, just come and say hey. I don't know, it's not anything that special. After a couple of minutes, you'll think, hey, Dennis, I gotta go. Good meeting you. Jesus. Here's my fear. This isn't even on. That's what sort of asshole I am. I'm Pavlov's dog. Now here's my fear. Do you remember that bit in Tootsie where Jessica Lange tells Dustin Hoffman as Dorothy what she would find refreshing upon meeting a new man? And then later, when Hoffman, as Michael Dorsey, says it to her verbatim, she throws a drink in his face. Oh, that movie was genius. I had forgotten that instant, but yeah. Yeah, that's my fear. I would never throw a drink in anybody's face. At some point, I had a guy once who I met, I remember down here, and he said, "Hey, look at me!" Because I was, he said, and he was so nasty. It ended up being I was right about him. He was a big, garrulous guy, and I was walking by him. Here's how I walk when I go to, I don't walk rude, but it's sort of like, I have my book, and I just walk like that. I always look down. And as he goes, "Hi, Dennis." I go, "Hey, how are you?" And I keep walking. He goes, "Hey, look at me!" He was pissed at me. But he thought I was being arrogant. And I wasn't being arrogant. I'm just unto myself. So the show's good for me. I find the show cathartic. But don't worry about coming up. It's never going to turn into, "Hey, how dare you?" Enjoy these samples of the Bathrobe Sessions, a weekly video available only to members of the DMZ, the Dennis Miller Zone, on DennisMillerRadio.com.